In this video, we are going to talk about computer software. In our previous video, we have studied about computer hardware. Now we are going to talk about computer software, right? Like I said in the previous video, this is just based on my experience. It has nothing to do with the NIMCET question paper. Since it is there in the syllabus, with my experience, I am making this. Do not be in assumption that since I am making the video, you think that only these concepts will come. It is my experience alone. I want you to refer multiple sources, read some textbook, watch some other video also along with this video, right? And also please watch the complete video. Don't skip things, don't see only the question and answers. You do not know which point can come in the exam, right? So that's why I always say in my teaching as well, so every point which I talk in the video might be important. You have to understand that, you have to know it. So do not skip any part, right? Let's go into computer software, and in this we have three different topics, and we have operating system, system software and application software. So three sub modules are there in this unit of computer software. So the first one is operating system, where we are going to talk about Windows, Mac, Linux and Android, right? So what is an operating system? A software that controls and coordinates the computer hardware devices and runs other software and applications on the computer. Basically, it's a OS acts as a link. It acts as a link between software and the hardware, right? So without operating system, you cannot do anything in that. If there is some hardware in your computer and you want to use that hardware, you need some software to do that. And you have software. How do they talk each other? They can talk with the help of operating system, right? So it is a main part of the system software, and a computer will not function without it. If you have hardware with you and if you have some software, basically software cannot exist without operating system, but in case, right, these two cannot talk to each other without the help of operating system. That's why OS acts as a link between the software and the hardware. It controls and keeps a record of the execution of all other programs that are present in the computer. Every task you do in the computer is recorded in the sense as an entry, okay, including application programs and other system softwares. The main important functions of operating system include booting the computer whenever you want to install a new operating system or change something, update something, right? Managing system resources, very important. CPU, memory, storage devices, printer, all those things it has to manage, right? Managing the files, handling input and output, executing and providing services for the application software. So with the help of operating system, we can install n number of applications. So all these applications are managed, they are handled with the help of this operating system, right? Examples of operating system include Microsoft Windows, Apple, Android, Mac, Linux and so on, right? iOS, okay, we have so many such operating systems. Now the most important point I would like to highlight here, in the syllabus of NIMCET it is given operating system colon these four, and I want to tell you that OS itself is a very big subject. It's a very big subject. There are a lot of concepts in operating system. It's a very big subject of computer science. So the intention behind the people who have revised this syllabus, it creates a doubt or confusion in the mind of everyone, including me. My expectation here, it is about just this overview of these operating systems. It is not meant to learn about everything about operating system. It's my view. But we like in 2025, you might have seen that from the computer architecture and organization, lot of questions came, in-depth questions were there, though those topics were not mentioned in the syllabus, right? But still there were questions on hardware control, microprogram control, questions were there in 2025. Same way, this might also, we cannot predict about 2026. People who set the question paper, they may see the syllabus, they might think this is also part and also these things are there. Or like I am thinking, what I understand from the syllabus, it is operating system and some overview about this operating system alone. So basic things about operating system and these four operating system, not the in-depth knowledge of that. It is my opinion. So I warn you, to be to secure good rank. If you have time, maybe if you have your capacity or energy, you may learn this subject at least. You can, if everything else is completed, you may go and study the operating system subject as well. We cannot predict anything, but my understanding, according to me, I will be explaining you what I feel about the syllabus, right? So I again, I do not guarantee anything. Don't use this video as base and tell that I have told only these things will come in the exam. No, anything can come from the syllabus. You may refer many other videos of coaching centers, right? So we understood what is operating system. Let's understand this. See, hardware is here and there are application programs and users like us, right? So operating system acts as a link. It is in between the application programs and the hardware. So basically software and the hardware part. Okay, so one of the exams, they ask the order of this. What is the correct order of these four? Where does hardware, OS, application program and user, what is the proper order, arrangement order of the operating system? Once was asked. So it is hardware, on top is that OS, then we have application programs and then we have users, right? Remember this. What are the important functions of operating system? What all jobs does operating system do, right? So the first one is resource management. See, a computer machine has lot of resources. Okay, so the operating system manages and allocates memory, CPU time and other hardware resources. See, you are running, you are playing a game, you are downloading something, one video is being run, you are playing a music in the laptop. When multiple things are running, the operating system's job is to allocate sufficient memory for each one of them. Okay, and CPU time it has to allocate, so that all these tasks are happening parallelly. You are playing music, you are playing a game, right? You are downloading something from the browser, or lot of stuff you might be doing parallelly. So all that it has to take care of. So resources required for all these things to function or happen should be allocated with and operating system's job is to do that, right? Then the next one is process management. The OS is responsible for starting, stopping and managing the processes and programs, right? So what is a process again? It's a lightweight program. It's a small program which executes, right? So it also controls the scheduling of processes and allocates resources to them. So lot of unknown processes are running in the background. If you go to task manager of your system, right, you can see lot of processes are running. Lot of processes are there. Different process for every activity. You are opening a window, Word document, a process activates. A process is started. You are playing some music, a process is started. So processes are the one which actually takes care of the running or happening of that particular activity. So those also has to be taken care by the operating system. And the third one, memory management, right? So OS manages the computer's primary memory and provides mechanism for optimizing memory usage. This is also one of the responsibilities of OS. Then security, obviously it has to provide a secure environment for the user. Also the applications, the data, everything should follow proper security policies, right? So data encryption, data decryption, everything should be done by the operating system itself. So OS is responsible even for the security of the user, its user data and the applications which are installed in the system. Then file management. So you are downloading some files, you are organizing them into folders, right? You are copying that data from one to the other, you are deleting something, you are copying, you are creating some folders, files, right? All that file management activity is also taken care by the operating system. And finally, device management. So you are connecting pen drive, your hard drive, you are connecting keyboard, you are connecting mouse, right? You are connecting the printer. So OS responsibility is to manage all these things, right? So communication requiring between the user and these hardware devices, it is happening with the help of the operating system. I as a user, I am downloading something and I am giving a print. I am using a printer to give the print of a document. I am able to do that. OS is providing me an interface. It is providing me a medium, a channel through which I can do the activity. right? So even device management is one of the very important activity of the operating system, right? So again, let's recall resource management, where we take care of the memory, CPU time allocation for the different programs and process management, starting, stopping and managing those process, memory management, managing the storage and optimizing it, security of the data and applications, and file management, creating, deleting folders, files in the system. Everything is taken care by the operating system. It supports those activities. And finally, device management. It provides necessary drivers and interfaces to enable communication between the devices and the computer, right? So these are a few standard functions or benefits or activities taken care by the operating system, right? So it's again the syllabus of operating system subject. If you see any BTech computer science or MCA computer science, MCA course, if you see operating system, you will see each topic in depth of all these things, right? So what are the different components? There are two important components in any operating system, okay, whether it is Linux or whether it is any other operating system. It has two important parts. One is shell, the second one is kernel, right? So again, if you see some previous important questions, exams, you will definitely have questions on shell and kernel. So you may read it more if you want, right? So shell is the outermost layer of the operating system and handles user interaction. So basically it is something like this. Kernel is here and then we have shell. On top we have users, right? So actually every activity in operating system is taken care by the kernel. Every activity in the system is taken care by the kernel. So users have to interact with the kernel. They cannot directly interact. They can do it only with the help of shell. So we have something called as shell scripting, we say. Shell scripting. It's kind of a programming language. Using this, we will be, users will be giving some commands. The shell will take that command and give it to the kernel. Kernel understands only shell. Okay, so shell is the outermost layer of the operating system and handles user interaction. Whatever user is giving, that goes to, again, that is taken by the shell. It interprets input for the OS and handles the output from the OS. So whatever user is telling, that is again given to the kernel. So whatever kernel is giving in response is again understood by the shell and it gives response back to the user. Kernel is the core component of any operating system. It's a primary interface between the operating system and the hardware. Okay. So then there is hardware here, right? So any operation you want to do, that is taken care by the kernel. So kernel operates or it does any activity on the hardware, right? So this is the flow of shell and kernel. So these two are very important components. Shell and kernel are two important components in any operating system. Basically, we talk a lot about shell and kernel in Linux operating system. Okay, because we will be writing shell programming, shell scripting we will be doing there, so that the user can interact with the operating system, right? Shell and kernel. Kernel is the core component of operating system. Kernel is also the heart of operating system. It is also the heart of operating system, right? Next, what are the common operating systems? So there are multiple operating systems having their own unique features. So the first one is Windows, then we have Mac, Linux and Unix, and there are so many others depending on the requirement. They have come up with slighter modifications of the operating systems. Okay, the first one is Windows. It is developed by Microsoft, used in personal computing, business environment and gaming. So we all use Windows. Most of the people use Windows machines, right? So you have a laptop, you have a computer, you might be having Windows operating system, and the current is Windows 11. Current operating system is Windows 11, and Windows 7 is stopped, 8 is stopped, right? There is no more service for them. Windows 10 and 11 are working now, right? So Windows is developed by Microsoft. Then we have Mac OS. developed by Apple. So basically for Mac laptops, Apple laptops, they use this Mac OS. Used for creative industries, design, video editing, music production, personal computing, all that benefits. Again, it's a different laptop. Other than Windows, it has Mac. All jobs what operating system does, it's also done here in Mac OS as well. The most important, the popular one is Linux. Why I am saying it is very important and popular? Some of the programming tasks, some of the projects, some of the important activities or very big problems can be solved only with the help of Linux, or only in the Linux we can solve them, right? So developed by Linus Torvalds and maintained by open source community, Linux Foundation, Red Hat, Canonical, etc. There are so many such foundations available. Okay, so Linux is very popularly used in servers and data centers, development and programming, personal computing for tech enthusiasts. So lot of the industries, they use Linux operating system. It is very powerful. The only one major advantage of Linux, or many, it has many advantages, but the most important advantage is security. Linux operating system is fully secure. Okay, that is the advantage of this Linux. That's why in almost all cloud data centers, servers, wherever your applications are deployed, all software applications what you are using, they are deployed in their data centers or servers, and they use this Linux operating system. And it is an open source. It's an open source. It means anybody can freely download and make changes to that, customize it. Open source means we can customize that operating system. You can change its rule according to your needs. Though it is little challenging, but it can be done. Okay, then next one is Unix. So it is also again used in lot of servers and workstations, right? So it was developed at AT&T Bell Labs. AT&T is a popular laboratory in USA where this all things were developed, right? So it is all, like Unix also used for lot of development environment, research and academic settings. Okay, so these are 4 different operating systems what we have, right? You may again do some research, read in Wikipedia about all these 4, which may give you some knowledge about, in-depth knowledge about these 4 different operating systems: Windows, Mac, Linux and Unix, right? So we will understand these through questions. I have included more questions, less theory part. So again, when I am displaying the question, I want you to pause the video, guess the answer and then only go. That is the only way you can learn. If you simply keep watching, you will, even if the same question appears or a similar question appears in exam, you will not be able to answer it. This is standard procedure. When I display a question, you pause the video, you guess your answer, then you watch my answer, continue the video and watch the answer. That way you can remember the answer. Otherwise, if you are simply watching it without pausing it, then what will happen? If a similar kind of question is coming in the exam and if you don't know the answer, you cannot remember the answer, you will be confused, right? So the first one, which component of the operating system acts as a primary interface between hardware and system software? Right? Hardware is here and there is some system softwares, it is here. So which is that which acts as a primary interface? See, I repeat the concept here again. So 4 options are there: shell, kernel, compiler, loader. Shell, kernel, compiler and loader. Which one do you think is the answer for this? Right? So I will repeat the solution here. Between users there is shell and here we have kernel. Kernel talks to hardware, right? So the primary interface between hardware and the system is your kernel, okay, which is also the heart or a core component of the operating system. Remember this. Again, that's why I said you may please read in detail about shell and kernel from some internet source. See, which of the following best represents the correct hierarchy of computer system? As I mentioned earlier, very important and very popularly asked question, right? So you guess the answer, pause the video, guess the answer for this. Okay, let's see the answer here. We know that hardware comes, then comes the operating system, then comes the application software or system programs, and then comes the application programs, right? Or at least you remember this, hardware and OS comes, first hardware then OS, on top comes the applications. So if you see hardware and OS, only one option is there, right? So option B, hardware, operating system, system programs and application programs, right? So all these comes under the hierarchy of the computer system. Third question, proper allocation of CPU, memory and IO devices is part of which function of operating system? We have studied about different functions of operating system, right? So allocating CPU, memory, input output devices is part of which function of operating system? So pause the video, guess the answer and then see my explanation, right? So the answer here is resource management. It is the one of the important and the first functions of operating system is resource management, allocating CPU, memory, input output devices to the processes, to the programs. In your operating system, when you are running multiple, when you are doing multiple activities, right? When you are doing multiple activities, some memory should be allocated, some CPU should be allocated, and that is done by the resource management of the operating system. Next, which interface allows users to interact using commands? Okay, so I think this term seems new for you, but again it's also an important question. So just guess, make some rough guess. Okay, so see, that's what I said. In theory I explained a little, but through questions I want to teach you more. Which interface allows users to interact using commands? Okay, BIOS means basic input output system. API means application programming interface. Application programming interface. Then CLI means command line argument. Command line interface, here it is interface, command line interface. Then GUI means graphical user interface. Okay, so I will explain each one of them. BIOS means you give some input and output commands, print, out, right? You will give print, you will say add, you will be some commands there. Okay, API means application programming interface. So you will not give any input output, you are not interacting with commands there. Third one is command line interface, where you will be entering everything as commands. And fourth one, graphical user interface, a GUI. It's like accessing some website by clicking mouse buttons, you will be accessing that. So therefore the answer for this will be CLI, command line interface, because you will be entering, you will be doing every activity through commands, right? Next one, Android OS is primarily based on. Okay, see, Android, it's an operating system, we know that, but again it is using some other operating system's kernel. So what is that? So what does Android operating system uses in the internal? Android itself is an operating system, its internal structure again contains something else. It uses some other operating system structure. What is that? It is the question, right? Unix, Linux, DOS and Solaris. So all these are four different operating systems, right? So it's a rough guess, but answer is Linux kernel. Remember that Linux is a very important and very powerful operating system. There are almost, Linux is almost 200 plus different variants. There are 200 plus different variants of Linux operating system, right? If you watch some video in my YouTube channel, in the I think DevOps course, there is one playlist DevOps. You can find one video about Linux operating system, where I have talked in detail about these variants, right? If you are interested, you may watch that video. But for Android operating system, which we have in mobile, internally it uses Linux kernel. Next, in Windows, when you are using pen drive, when you are formatting some data, right, you might see this NTFS. You will see about NTFS, right. So, what is this NTFS? What is the full form of NTFS? Okay. So, any rough guess if you are, see, whenever you are formatting some pen drive or hard disk, no, you will see either FAT system or you will see NTFS system, right. FAT stands for file allocation table, file allocation table, and NTFS stands for, is what I am asking here, which is new technology file system. NTFS stands for new technology file system, right. So, that is the answer. In Windows, you will see FAT or NTFS. FAT means file allocation table and NTFS means new technology file system. Next, the process of loading operating system into memory is called. See, in your laptop, there is hardware, there is no operating system installed, but you have a facility where you can copy your operating system into the hardware, store it somewhere, then run this, so that OS is installed. So, what is the process of loading the operating system into the memory? What do we call it? Right? I think if you are using some laptop, as soon as you on, you will see some command. By that you can guess the answer for this question. It is nothing but booting, right? When we say boot, it means you are copying the operating system from CD drive or pen drive into your hardware memory. So, we call it as booting, means copying. Okay. Then the command interpreter in Linux is called. Okay. So, Linux is an operating system and we use only commands in Linux. So, what is that interpreter? Interpreter means, again, it is a what we say, kind of a translator. Interpreter means it translates the program what you are giving so that it machine understandable format. So, in Linux, when a user is giving commands, so what is that interpreter, which is actually taking this user commands and converting it into machine understandable format. It is converting into machine understandable format. So, what is that? So, answer here is shell, because I said already it is shell programming. Okay, or we call it as shell scripting. Okay, using which you give command and Linux understands it. Okay, so which of the following is an open source operating system? I think you can easily guess this. Which one is an open source? Open source means I can customize the operating system, I can make some changes in the operating system. So, what is that operating system which you can play with, right? So, Mac, Windows, Linux and iOS. So, answer is Linux. It is an open source, freely available, you can play with it as you want. Okay. So, these are some questions with my experience I have noted down here, but again I repeat, operating system, I do not know what kind of questions will come, right. My expectation, it should be some basic questions, because it itself it's a very big subject, right. So, if at all they ask some details, maybe you can spend one day time on understanding, on reading some basic chapters of operating system subject. Okay. Next, the next concept is system software. So, let us understand this system software, right. Basically, what is a software? A set of instructions or programs that tells a computer what to do or how to perform a specific task, right. Software is a set of instructions or a collection of programs that tells the computer what to do or how to perform a specific task, and computer software can run only on hardware. Computer software can run only on hardware, right. So, basically there are two types of softwares, system software and application software. This is what is there in our syllabus. After operating system, we have system software and we have application software. right? So basically there are two types of software, system software and application software. System software means something which is used to produce applications. System software means it is useful for writing code and building application softwares. Okay, so let's understand them in detail. What is this system software and application software? Right. System software, it is designed to run a computer's hardware and application software. You see, if there is some application software, if I want to run this, I can do it only with the help of system software. Right. You see the example. One of the examples of system software is OS, device driver, utility software, programming software. Let's say Python. I am having Python. So Python software you have to install. Right. So Python software can be called as a system software. I will install, and once I install this Python software, I can build applications using Python. Those are application softwares. Okay, right? So it serves as an interface between hardware, application software and the user. System software acts as a middleware or an interface between the hardware where the data is stored, application software which the user is using. Right? A computer functions through interactions between the user, application and the operating system and the hardware. A system to work or any job to do in the laptop or machine, all these four have to interact. Okay, right? A computer functions through interactions between the user, applications, OS and the hardware. Right? So the main functions of system software includes allocating system resources, managing storage space, storing and retrieval of files, providing security, etc. So some examples include OS, device driver is a system software, utility software is some system software, programming language software is also system software. Okay, right? So let's see them in detail. Device driver, right? Since we have already studied about operating system, in our syllabus we have been given device driver and utility software. These two are included in the NIMCET syllabus, and OS also there, which you have already covered in the previous part. Right? Device driver, a software program that is designed to control a particular hardware device. Let's say this is my laptop. I am having a printer. We know printer is an hardware device. We have already studied about printers, inkjet printers, dot matrix printers, laser printers, thermal printers, right? So we have a printer. Now there is a wire which I am connecting through a cable. Using a cable, I am connecting a printer with the laptop. So in my laptop, this printer, if I want to print something from my laptop, I need some software. Okay, right? That software should be common for both of them, laptop and the printer. Right? So that one software we call it as drivers. Drivers are software programs. Okay, if I install the driver in this laptop, if I install the driver of this, let's say this printer is a Canon printer, Canon or HP printer, or there are many brands. Okay, that HP, let's say I am using HP printer or Canon printer. Canon printer's driver should be installed in my laptop. Only then I can print from my laptop using this printer. I can print some documents. So device driver is required. So what is the device driver's job? Its job is to connect this hardware device to my machine, to my laptop, to my computer. Okay, right? So device driver is a software program that is designed to control a particular hardware device that is attached to the computer. Even your keyboard is a hardware device, mouse is a hardware device. So there are some default drivers available which come with the operating system. Or if you are installing some printer, some scanner, you need to have that particular driver installed in your laptop. The main purpose of device driver, it acts as a translator between the hardware device and the operating system. Right? So the main purpose is to translate. It instructs computer on how to communicate with that hardware device by translating the operating system's instruction into a language that the hardware device can understand. That there is a printer, there is a hardware device, it has some understanding language. Laptop or the OS has some different language. So that device driver actually translates and helps in communication between the laptop and the printer. Right? So some of the device drivers includes printer driver, display driver, USB driver, sound card driver, motherboard driver. Like this we have a lot of drivers. Only for special devices like printer or USB you have to install. But nowadays operating system comes with some default drivers. So you need not install anything. You need not install specially any software. It comes with OS comes with some default drivers. Okay. So device driver in computing refers to a special kind of a software program or a specific type of software application that controls the hardware device. Okay, that enables hardware devices to communicate with the computer's operating system. Right? See here, application is there, right? Device driver, user driver. So there is driver here. This is all the full driver. A device driver communicates with the computer hardware by computer subsystem or computer bus connected to hardware. When I say computer bus, it is the cable, the wire which is connected, USB cable, it could be any cable, which is a common wire between the printer and my laptop. Okay, right? Then working of device driver, how does it works? You see an example here. I'll explain with an example. Printer driver tells the printer in which format to print after getting instructions from the operating system. From my laptop, using operating system, I am doing Control P button on a document and I am choosing the format PDF or maybe image or maybe some black and white or maybe color print. I am choosing some options. When I am choosing these options, device driver is telling the hardware printer how to print it. Device driver is telling the hardware printer how to print it. Okay, right? So a sound card driver is there, due to which ones and zeros data of the MP3 file is converted to audio signals. You enjoy the music. So when you are playing a music, there is one sound card driver which is actually helping you to listen the music, right? So card reader, controller, modem, network card, sound card, printer, USB, speakers, all these needs drivers to operate. All these hardware devices, they definitely need some drivers to be installed in the system. Only then we can use those hardware devices. I think you got clarity now what is the use of a device driver, right? The next one is utility software. It is utility software. So what is the utility software, right? Again, these are all basic softwares. Utility means using, utility, using. Okay, so you can apply some common sense when if some question is asked with respect to utility software. It's a type of system software that helps set up, analyze, configure, strengthen, maintain a computer and performs very specific task. Some examples of utility software include antivirus, backup software, memory tester, screensaver. So all these are some additional softwares which, if utility softwares are not there, computer can still work, but if you have them, its performance increases. If you have them, its performance increases, right? So utility software helps your computer work better by performing specific tasks. So working, work better. So to effectively utilize your computer, to have some benefits, additional benefits, we may have to use utility software. It supports your operating system to keep things fast, secure and organized. For example, it can clean up junk files, protect against virus, organize your files. See, if you want to save your data from virus, you have to install antivirus software, which is a utility software. Okay, right. Some utility tools come built in with your computer, like Windows Defender. Windows Defender is a default operating system utility software, right? But all others you have to install the software, something like antivirus, backup, memory tester, screensaver, all this we have to install. So see, antivirus software is one utility software. What is its job? It detects a virus and notify the user and take action to secure the computer. If you are using laptop, if some virus is there, automatically this antivirus software will activate and tell you that there is some no virus in this, please delete that, take some action. So these are all some simple examples of antivirus software. File management tool. You know there is one file manager in your mobile phone also. In your mobile phone you will have this file manager where you will find all the PDFs, videos, images. Same way, file manager is a utility software. It is used to manage files stored in the file system. Like your mobile has file manager, even systems have this file management tools. Okay, it can be used to create group file, like Windows File Explorer is a file management tool. You can go to Windows and you can search everything there. Okay, file system like FAT and NTFS should not be confused with file management tool. Former is a data structure used to store file in OS, while later is used to perform tasks on file systems. Okay, so file management softwares are different from this FAT and NTFS. These are all data structures to store the data, while these are all file management tools are softwares for managing the data, right? Then compression tools, I think you are aware of this zip. Sometimes we do this, zipping, WinRAR, WinZip. Okay, so all these are softwares. See, you have lot of files, you want to club them and make a folder and you want to send them in mail, you have to zip them. So zip is also one utility software which is helping your job. So all these are some softwares which are helping us in our daily activities, right? So these tools are used to reduce the size of the file based on the selected algorithm. Most operating systems include tools for compressing and uncompressing files. Like Linux has tar, gz, zip. Other includes 7z, .rar. Lot of tools are there, lot of softwares are there. If you want them, you can use. If you want to zip something, send somebody in email, then you have to use these tools. That's why I said utility softwares are not required. Even your laptop can work, but if you use them, your job will be easy. Next, disk management tools, right? So actually you want to install some drives, you want to install some softwares. See, in your laptop you have seen C drive is there, D drive is there, E drive is there, F drive is there, right? We have some folders like this in our laptop. These drives are actually created or managed with the help of disk management tool. So it's a default utility software nowadays in operating system, right? So if you are using this disk management tool, you can see if I have 1000 TB storage in my laptop, I have given 150 for this, 200 for this, 200 for this and 250 for this, or maybe 450. Yeah, if I have 1000, I may have to give 500. So 450 I have given for F drive. So allocating, deallocating, creating, deleting, everything is possible with the help of these disk management tools. This is also an utility software. See, disk management is used to manage the drivers installed in the computer like hard drives, flash drives. It can be used to partition the drives, assign drive letters and so on. Okay, So these are some examples of utility softwares. So again, as usual, let's see some questions and try to understand more about the system softwares. Which of the following is an example of utility software? You pause the video, watch it, guess the answer, and then only continue the video. Please do that activity, only then you can remember it, and you will it will help you in exam. Okay, right? So which of the following is an utility software? Linux is an operating system. I know that. MS Word is an application software. See, antivirus is a utility software which can help me in finding out some bugs. It can help you in finding out some bugs. Antivirus. Next, which utility software is used for file compression? If I have some 10 files and if their size is some 100 MB, I want to compress their thing, I have to do some activity. So which is that software? It is WinZip, zipping, compressing, zip. No, it is also answer for that. Then a graphics card driver helps the operating system to. A graphics card driver. So nowadays people who play game, they go and ask for the graphics cards. How much? What is the graphics card? Graphic card for this laptop? They ask this. If you want to play game, you need to have a good graphic card of 2 GB or maybe 4 GB, right? So what is that driver doing? So it you can guess the answer here. Virus, again, graphic card is mainly for communicate with the GPU. CPU means central processing unit. GPU means graphical processing unit. Okay, graphical processing unit. Right? So you need graphic cards driver to do that task for you. Okay, so maybe you can also study about CPU and GPU. Right? Graphics processing unit is GPU. Basically, for AML applications, we need GPU. With a normal CPU like our laptops, we cannot execute these AML programs. You need to have a very good GPU machine. Only then you can execute this AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning models. There we talk a lot about GPUs. Next, which utility removes temporary files in Windows? So I think you can easily guess it is disk cleanup, right? So these are few questions which I have gathered here because I don't see much important or much concepts from the topics. Okay, so and finally a small concept is left, that is our application software. So what is this application software? Right? So let's understand this. Application software is a computer program that provides users with tools to accomplish a specific task. See, operating system, then there is system software, then there is application software. Okay, so application softwares like see, what is system software? One example of this, operating system is Windows. System software is the MS Office. Application software is MS Word or MS PPT. All these are application softwares, or Excel sheet. All these are application softwares, and the underlying system software is MS Office, which can be installed in an operating system, right? So let's see that. So examples of application software: word processing, MS Word; spreadsheets means Excel sheet; presentation, PPT; database management; internet browsers like Chrome, Mozilla; email programs; media players, VLC or Windows default, right? Pronunciation, translation, desktop, all these things are application softwares. If you want to do some type of task, you install that software, application software, and play with it. Application software is a type of computer program designed to help users perform a specific task or functions. These tasks can range from writing documents, editing photos, managing finances, or browsing the internet. So it can help you in lot other ways, right? Unlike system software which runs the computer itself, application software focus on what the user wants. Okay, So again, these are some examples of application software. See, word processing like MS Word, Notion, spreadsheet software, Google Sheets, MS Excel, presentation software, MS PPT, multimedia software, Adobe PDF, web browsers, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Brave, no, and Mozilla, education software, Moodle, Coursera, graphics, Adobe Illustrator, right, simulation software. So based on your requirement, you can install any number of application softwares. Okay, so all these are examples of application softwares, right? So this is about the entire second module which I was talking about, right? So if I just go back to the syllabus, this is what we are talking. So I have just covered computer software. In this we talk little about operating system and different operating systems. System software, utility, programs, device drivers we have seen, and then we have application software, basic concepts and tools, right? Tools means they might ask about MS Word, MS Excel, all those are application softwares, and here nothing is mentioned, which tools is not given. So again, it's an open point, open ended, right? Anything can be asked, we cannot predict about that, right? So as per my understanding is what I have covered, but again, I am worried about operating system, right? So let's see what happens in the exam. But if there is time, if you have some time, if you have completed all the syllabus, you may go in detail and study about operating system, right? Lot of videos are available in the internet, you may watch them, right? So with this we complete the computer software part. Okay, and then we are left over with the final module, internet and email. It's very small and very simple unit which I will be making in the part 3 video. Okay, again I request you, please watch the complete video. When you see the question, pause and then watch it. Okay, and again, don't link this with the NIMCET exam, don't point this video. I am also one of the persons who is making videos in the YouTube. I am also something like a coaching center fellow giving you the topic, right? So don't link me or pull me into the NIMCET if something goes wrong, right? With respect to syllabus I am talking, other things I am responsible, you can always reply in the video, you can comment on this, right? So I want you to watch the complete video. You do not know which point which I have taught can become a question in the exam. So watch the complete video. Okay, thank you.